that's pretty good. What the fuck? That's me gin. That's me gin. What's here? Blue. Can play with that for a bit. It's Christmas. It's proper Christmas. The darkest day. From here on out, it's getting lighter. May you have longer, brighter, better days. See you in Parliament Square with a guillotine, eh? So I'm drinking early, and well, mainly because I can't play Blood Bowl with many of my friends because they've either got it, or they're locked down with somebody who's got it, or they've been pinged and they're waiting for a result, or that kind of thing. It's almost as if it's a really terrible thing, and we could have just like nipped it in the bud a couple of years back and not be dealing with it. Anyway, I'm going to distract myself with toys, and one of my favourite ones for years, probably one of the first ones to get me into the hobby, was Blood Bowl. And of course, G-Dubs have done Dungeonbowl. I missed out on Dungeonbowl first time around. I was out of the hobby. You know how we do. And yeah, I've since had loads of Blood Bowl games. It's not really a game for me. It's too... I don't have the attention span for it, as you might have guessed. But I've played enough that playing Dungeonbowl with my mate Dan the other day was really fun. Me being me, of course, I went a bit left field with my team. A while back, when Age of Sigmar was doing things, the squigs came out and I cut all their legs off and turned them into fish. Hashtag deep gits. Have a look at that one on Instagram. Did it years ago, but I didn't play enough any Sigmar to really get into it, to carry on with it. Other games came along, other pandemics came along, and it went by the wayside. I picked up, of course, a couple of them to make into a massive shark. I'll tell you what, I've lost it. I don't know where the bloody hell it's gone. But I've got another one because I was like, that's beautiful, I'm going to do something with that. But what it does show you is some of the bits, some of the things I'll be dealing with in this video. It's these big old holes, because this guy's very similar size to the Mangler squigs, the Age of Sigmar. So of course Mangler, angler, you know the old angler fish with the glowing bit? I'm not built. It's just a similar shirt. What these? Oh yeah, that's Bill making stuff. He's like me but more upbeat and perky, and he lives that side. Stop throwing things at my cat, please, Bill. It's official, look. Official. See what I did there? So yeah, dungeon. Fish. These are the some kind of kit on a loon boss, on a fish, squid, that kind of thing. And then a whole bunch of other squigs, of which there are armoured ones. Now, because of course you've seen me on Instagram getting all excited about Dungeonbowl coming out, so I dug out this old team, my barking black dogs. It's a Forge World model. I dashed up the Tottenham Court Road and picked up the Dungeonbowl box to have a game with Dan. This Dan that dyed his hair the other day, came round, chopped it off. But these are the Manglers. That is a Mangler angler, of course. Now, I built these for an Age of Sigmar army. Like I say, just never really got into it, never really bit it. But of course now, I can use them for my Dungeonbowl team. I tried these little legs you can see on the side. I don't think I'm overly pleased with them. I'm going to rip them off. But you can see the tails there. That's paper clips, bit of newspaper, super glue. But I'm going to whip them off and green stuff on some better fins, I think. So you'll see here as I ping them off how I've gone about making these. Because old Mosrog Scrag Bag, just rolls off the tongue, that one. You saw he had that little leg hole. So these, even the little ones, I stuffed with newspaper just so that I had some resistance in there. And then I would soak it with super glue, so that then I had a nice hard surface, so that anything else I could then put on top was going to get a bit of a bite. But while it's set up, you get a bit of resistance, you know, shove anything in there really. So what I'm doing here is I'm mixing up my green stuff. I'm going to let that cure a little bit while I trim and Dremel away all the little chains and bits. Excuse me a moment, I'm probably not going to film this because I'm going to concentrate on not grinding off my balls. Yeah. Good old Penny there, catching all the crap. So you can see the green stuff set up a little bit more. You put it in a big bowl and the exothermic reaction kicks off that much more. The more there is, the more mass, the quicker it's going to go. So now I'm breaking it off into smaller little bits so to slow that down, and I'm going to approximately the right amount for all the little bits I'm going to do. Fins on the sides, a dorsal on the top. So you see I've shoved that on, just trimmed a little bit back so that I get a nice kind of like throwback shape onto it. And with this tool here, this is one of my files, but I put a circular magnet on the end of it, and it's also just a really handy tool for pushing good and hard and getting that to grip onto the milliput and newspaper, super glued newspaper. Like I say, it's just a chunky stuff to backfill it, put something in that void. So my thumb there is nice and wet so that it doesn't stick to me, and then I push on the other side with the tool. There'll be lots of this. So more of the same on the other side. You can see I've made that kind of like flange shape so that it sits nicely, smooths out from a dorsal into the musculature on the side of the beastie. Squiggly beastie is what the orcs do say. Going to do the same with both of these. Similar process on each one. They've got different characters to the sculpt on them. I'm no expert on sculpting, but what I would say is try and follow the lines of your creature. You can see this guy's got lots of spines on him. Just again trimming. So yeah, that's pretty much the process. You can see I'm looking at the horizontal lines on this fella, on the angler. Pretty happy with that. And then the other guy, spiky so and so that he is, pretty chuffed with that. Pair of big uns, ogres or something. Right, the other thing I did, what I'm rather pleased with, is the UV paint mixed in with Green Stuff World's UV resin. It's not UV in that it glows, the fluoro paint makes it glow, but the UV setting resin, now the two of them, I don't know if the UV resin on its own is rubbery, but it's got a little bit of a grip to it. So I might try that on the bottoms of them, just to stop that sliding around on the cardboard thing that you get with board games, you know, like, was it there, was it there, was it there, was it there? I'm going to try that, see if that works. I've glued all the chests shut and the dice, because it's really difficult to make these all look identical. If one of them gets a ding or a scratch or something or other, there'll be like that marked card, and you'll know the ball is in that one, because they've sculpted it so that there's 5 bombs on one ball, and you would take the lid off and have a look. Nice, novel, but roll the dice. It's a dice game. You've got dice, they're right there. As Dan pointed out, they look a bit plain. Well, I always thought they looked a bit plain on the board there. It's quite dark and dingy, and they're quite dark and dingy. So I might do this. Paint a bit of OSL on them, give them that kind of computer game look. I'm thinking I might put a little clear rod underneath just to lift them off the base a bit. And anyway, here look. Hey, there's the fish. I'll show you the rest of them. They're not fully painted yet. I've literally just touched the white paint. So Halford's Grey, good old Halford's Grey primer. Zenithal ink white, going up, lots of contrast. I've put red in the mouths, and magenta and blue squirty from underneath to give them a bit of life, and then the inky blueness of the depths, just a dark blue shadow, and then a very dark grey oil wash, just to give them, you know, pick out all the details, so that then at some point in the near future I will give them little black eyes with a bit of gloss. I think I'll mattify them and then put black eyes and then a little dab of gloss on those black eyes. They're gaming pieces, so they'll get a really tough varnish, because I don't know if you've played Blood Bowl or Dungeonbowl before, but you've got to have them face down and face up, so your models are constantly flipping. So I would highly recommend a fast, fun, dirty paint job, loads of clear lacquer, and then, you know, give them a mattify and a gloss to pick out the parts if you so desire. They're gaming pieces, so they're going to be pretty fast and dirty, but you can see they look really good until you hit them with bits of the board. They look really good just with that, picking out the teeth and the eyes, and then, you know, some metal parts on some of the mid-sized sharks will do them no end of favours. So yeah, Dungeonbowl, it's a really cracking game. As I say, Blood Bowl's not everybody's cup of tea, certainly not mine. I like the fluff and I like the idea of it, but it's a lot more technical, and I think I get analysis paralysis when I play. Whereas with Dungeonbowl, of 1 and 6, so much going on with the behind. You can't account for everything, so it, much in the same way that in Frostgrave, that the swinginess of a D20 means that anything could happen. The same way in this, you can't guard against everything, so you kind of relax and you let the dungeon punch you in the face, and Nuffle punch you in the balls, because that's what Nuffle does. The 5th Chaos God. We don't talk about Malal. Just talking about Malal. Yeah. Anyway, look, fish. Get yourself a squig, chop the legs off, stuff it with newspaper, smooth on some other bits of green stuff. If you're making enough of them, like I did, make a little press mould for the fins. God, I've got so many of these little buggers. I was doing an Age of Sigmar all squig army. They had, some of them had the riders on the back, but obviously I've sanded that back, like these guys, so that they make a proper shark, instead of having that kind of bit of flesh that the goblin was holding on to. Oh yeah, colossal squig. Hang on, too big. Gonna need a bigger dungeon. It's a Jaws joke. It's a Jaws. You don't. Perfect film, like Hot Fuzz, perfect. Jaws, perfect. Yeah, colossal squig. Forge World. It's a fucking great big lump of resin. You could knock a fascist out with that. Put it in a sock. Yeah, that guy from the last video. Yeah, look at that. Big one. You can see that big patch there, similarly where the leg went. Stuffed it with milliput. Followed those lines. I don't think that's too bad. You know, reasonable bit of modelling, reasonable paint job. Fucking great idea. Really proud of that one. Yeah, hashtag deepgits. Don't know if it's a hashtag Dungeonbowl. It's a really fun little game. You're probably gonna get one off a grand for Christmas, aren't you? Have a go. Glue the boxes shut. Get some UV paint for your whatnots, and yeah, roll better dice than me. I bet you can't. So that's just the Halford's Grey primer, and I get a sense of how much more I need to do on the sculpting. I think the angler needs a little bit of work. The mix of milliput, green stuff, newspaper, super glue, spit and cat hair, it was a bit difficult to tell what was going on. So, you know, hit it with a prime coat, go in and do a bit more. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, maybe I don't care. It's just Blood Bowl figures. Like I say, they're going to get smashed to bits, rolling around drunkenly like Dan and I, drinking 2 litres of cider while we was playing. We had a couple of games. Had a game, tried out a list, you know, little tweaks, more re-rolls is usually a good idea. Different positions. It's really interesting how the colleges work and how having a mix of different races and teams and options makes it quite different from Blood Bowl. That and the, like I say, the space in which you're playing it is just bonkers. Anyway, merry whatever, happy thing. Yeah, never kiss a Tory. Where's the camera? No, really, where is the camera? Did that work? Let's have a look. Yeah, Bill makes stuff. He uses like Poundland gear, stuff out the bin, and makes beautiful shit. And it's not very funny though. But he's covered in baby poo, so I mean, I guess that would bring you down a bit. My son's 27 now, so there's different challenges there.